Now, our next speaker actually met at Ignite Burning Man a couple of years ago, and he's here to talk about how you won't be able to resurrect dinosaurs, but you can learn a lot in the process of trying. Please welcome Liam Holt.
Thank you, Bradley. Okay, so my name's Liam Holt. I'm from UC Berkeley, and I'm going to talk to you about resurrecting ancient proteins from millions of years ago. So first of all, what is a protein? A protein is a string of chemical building blocks called amino acids. These amino acids have a certain shape, a certain structure, and they're like letters. And we represent them with letters. So here is a protein. This protein is called rhodopsin. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to use little letters. It's made of hundreds of these letters. We're just going to use an example of 5. So to resurrect, first of all, proteins, they're tiny machines. So this particular protein, rhodopsin, what it does is it detects light in the back of your eyes, just like the CCD chip on a camera. So to resurrect proteins, we need to know 2 things. So the first thing we have to know is that copying errors are stereotyped. So just like in ancient times, the scribes would mistake similar-looking letters for one another. It's the same thing in evolution. When proteins are duplicated millions and millions of times, you make mistakes. And similar-looking amino acids tend to be mistaken for one another, just like the letters. And so there are rules. We have an idea about how evolution works, which direction it's likely to go. Now, the second thing that you need to know is that you can tell things about the past from looking at the present. So this lady, she's got blue eyes, she has a baby with brown eyes, and she's not sure who the father is. Well, more likely the guy with the brown eyes in this particular case. But we can go much further than that. If we know lots of information about this lady and all her family, we can even take all that together and get an idea about how her ancestors from thousands of years ago that are long dead, how they may have looked. So we can infer the past from knowing about the present. And we can do the same thing with proteins. So now I'm showing you a family tree of proteins, this little string of 5 amino acids from humans and from chimpanzees. And what we want to know is in that circle, which is the common ancestor of these 2 organisms, what was the sequence? And from this information, we can't tell if that last position was an E or a D. We don't have enough information. So to resolve that, all we need is more information about what's going on in the present. We take a slightly more distantly related organism, in this case the gorilla, we find that it had an E in that position, and now suddenly we're really confident that the ancestor of chimps and humans was an E in that position. So we're resurrecting the past in this way. And the reason that we can do this so effectively now is that we have so much sequence information. So the first DNA was sequenced in 1977, and it took us 30 years to sequence the whole human genome. Now we can sequence a human genome in a day. So we have millions of sequences of proteins, and so we're going to use that. We're going to take a look at this protein, rhodopsin, the light detector, and we're going to use all these species, the same protein sequence from all these species, and use that to find out about the ancestor of the reptiles and the birds, which was the dinosaurs. Okay, so a quick audience quiz. So who here in the audience, show of hands, would like to resurrect a dinosaur? What kind of dinosaur would you resurrect? T-Rex? Yeah, you guys are completely irresponsible. If you've not even seen Jurassic Park, that's a terrible idea. So thankfully, for the 2 or 3 sensible people in the audience, that's impossible. And the reason is that most of the genome is evolving way too rapidly. These algorithms don't work. So if you try it, you don't get an awesome T-Rex. It's actually really sad, and I really discourage you from trying it. So don't do it. But what we can do is we can take certain proteins, a small minority, that are well-behaved, and we can resurrect those. So this is what was done by these authors, Belinda Chang and Thomas Sackmar. They took all of these protein sequences, again, from the alligators and the birds, and importantly, all these other more distantly related species, and they resurrected the ancestral rhodopsin from the archosaur. That's the ancestor of all the dinosaurs. And they did it, they put it in human cells, and it worked. It detected light, and it sent a signal to the cells, and that means that the ancestor of the dinosaurs had a functional rhodopsin, a dim light detecting protein. This is night vision. And what this suggests is that the dinosaurs, the ancestor of all the dinosaurs, could have been nocturnal. So we're learning something about the past. And we can take it further than that, because you can look at the physics of the light that interacts with this rhodopsin protein, and what you see is the light is shifted to the red on the spectrum. It's a redder light than the rhodopsins that are detecting light today. And so we learn that the dinosaurs may have lived in a more red world than today. So I hope you enjoyed this. We've had a chance to resurrect a protein. We've looked through the eyes of the dinosaurs, and we've learned something about the ancient past, 250 million years ago.